wondering, Steve and I had a conversation before we got started about positioning of things, what World Vision is doing in Myanmar and China. Can you take 30 seconds, 50 seconds to talk about the other places in the world World Vision is working?
Right now, Myanmar is as you have heard it. I have to be always a little bit careful. We've been in the country for 40 years. Literally anything that would be stated publicly against the ruling party there right now actually puts our entire operation at risk. So I will just, as I make these comments, I'm asking some sensitivity here so I can talk a little more plainly. The situation in Myanmar is worse than you are reading. It is really bad. In light of the fact that many of the places that have been hit by the cyclone still have not been reached. And by this time, in a disaster situation, you really are talking about just death because of the inability to get to people who might have lived if you had gotten there. We are in very good relationships with the Myanmar government. It's rather surprising that we are the only Christian relief and development organization currently distributing our own resources. We do not go through the government. We've gotten it from a very high leadership within the junta that we can now deliver ourselves, but we're having trouble getting resources from outside the country in. Our issue is the same issue of the UN and many of these other support agencies, so we're actually using funding that's being raised from this country and others to buy resources inside the country to get those to people who need it. We have about 500 staff, and if you are going to bed tonight, pray for the world. You need to be praying for our staff because they are involved in a double tragedy. Many of them, because they were in the disaster zone, have lost family members, close loved ones, and yet they have to turn and literally begin their work as a World Vision relief person, even though they're a development worker, because that's what they do. And the level of pain they are currently undergoing is something I cannot imagine. But they're working through it by actually being a servant. Last piece on China. China is different than they did some 5, 6, 7 years ago when they had the last earthquake and didn't let anybody know that they had an earthquake. Are being very, very open to allow people to get in. The difficult part in both Myanmar and also China is that the environment is incredibly difficult to do relief. China, we've had a tremendous amount of difficulty just getting through on the roads to get the relief to where it needs to be. But we're getting tremendous help from the Chinese government, great help from other agencies. I think in the time that you've been sponsoring children through World Vision's gone from number like 10 as a relief agency to the second largest relief agency in the world next to the UN.
Wow.
So we feel a tremendous amount of responsibility in Cat 3, which we call Category 3 disasters, to respond and to show appropriate Christian leadership. And right now, being as pressed as we are with this and the food crisis, we are stretched. This is really stretching our resolve, stretching our resources, and so prayers for some of our staff who are trying to be Christ on the front line would be very much appreciated. Thank you for asking the question.
We want to thank you, Steve, for your time here with us. Thank you, John, for your participation also. Thank you.